Dark side of the stream, Mike the Intern and Jay Stevens. Watching documentaries so you don't have to. 104.7 The Cave.
104.7 The Cave, Mike the Intern, Jay Stevens. Dark Side of the Stream. It is episode 289 today. I apologize. Last week we left you on a cliffhanger and we did not actually pick an episode for this week.
Yeah.
Jay was rushing to get to a client and forced us out of there before I could give my pick, which then we scrambled and luckily found a good one, which you can watch on HBO Max. It's called Bring Me the Beauties.
Man.
Another cult, another day in the United States, and another cult to discuss.
This is
one,
the 80s cults, too.
about
This is when
the
they were real.
Eternal Values cult, which pretty interesting story.
They all look like Ken dolls, even the girls.
Yes,
Square jaws.
Started out. Yeah, I know, right? And that's, I think, a whole nother thing that was going on. Started by a guy named Frederick von Meurs in the 80s. Frederick was a New York socialite that just had crazy access. And from the story of Mr. Hoyt Richards, who we'll get into, tells a story about one day he's in Nantucket hanging out with his buddies. He's 16 years old, and this good-looking New York dude comes up and is like, hey.
Sits right next to him, he said, right? He says, on the beach. That had been red flag one.
Yeah.
A good-looking dude comes right next to you.
And the other red flag is that all the other guys were like, I was 16 too when he got me. That's weird. And so he basically kind of schmoozes Hoyt, who's kind of at the cusp of being an adult, and wows him so much that when he goes, I can't remember where he went to school. It was like a Princeton. I think it was Princeton.
One of those
or
type
something
of
like
things,
that.
yeah.
He starts visiting him in New York, and they get a friendship, and he sees that this guy has access to everything, takes him to Studio 54 and describes the scene that he sees in there as a kid, 18 years old.
You could be a model, man.
Yeah.
You're beautiful.
Yeah, you could be a model. And ends up going, I think he said he went to a shoot like on accident or something, and they ended up
got gigs, and he made money.
And not having the guys who stood in, and then that's how he started making his living as a male model.
Yeah.
What's interesting is that there were two things that these guys in the documentary described that made me think of two different movies. One is Zoolander. The way those models in that movie acted, it's literally like,
that's why they made that movie, to make fun of the modeling community.
It's almost as if it's almost like they just took from that mentality and were like, hey, here's the deal, and
just went over the top
and
with
it just felt very Zoolanderish.
Very.
The other thing was after, at the very end of the road, when they're getting closer and closer to when the apocalypse is supposed to happen in 99.
Always these apocalypses don't happen.
The pole reversal, which are still, again, that's kind of popping up again. Have you seen that?
It is popping up again.
Yeah, so they started, the members has dwindled down to, double digits, and which, if it ever went beyond that, I don't know, but it dwindles down, and they're talking about having to procreate with the race after the end, and there's like one girl in the group, and finally the guy is like, hey, are you cool with making it with all the other guys so we can, and she's like, what in the hell? That's literally from an Always Sunny episode. That is an Always Sunny in Philadelphia episode. So I'm sitting there going, geez Louise, did they just steal this from, and this documentary just came out, so I don't think so, but life imitates art, or art imitates life.
I mean, everybody knows these stories of these cults, and you're usually pretty much the same playbook. Charismatic guy gets a bunch of people, hey, life is great,
impressionable
we have a great
people
community
looking
living,
for answers, looking for a
community
family.
Living. Oh, we're all one, everything's cool, and then, hey, by the way, I got to start having sex with your wives, or with you.
That's not actually how it started, because these guys practiced abstinence.
Yeah, which is even weirder.
And we'll talk about that next. Dark Side of the Stream on 104.7 The Cave.
Dark Side of the Stream, Mike the Intern and Jay Stevens. Watching documentaries so you don't have to. 104.7 The Cave.
Jay Stevens, Mike the Intern, back in the studio. It is Dark Side of the Stream episode 289 this week. Bring you the beauties on HBO Max.
Bring me the beauties.
About
That's how
the
he
eternal
talks.
values.
You have to use his accent when you say that.
I was also happy with the amount of archival footage that this producing team brought in, as far as the late night public access show they obviously had on in the New York area.
Well, it was just a cast of weird people too, man.
Man, though we just you know, there's a lot of good about the internet, and there's a lot of bad. And one of the things that I think that is bad is that it's completely cut out the need to have any kind of public access TV shows, like in LA, in LA, in the 80s. I'm sure you stayed up late partying. And what was some of the crazy public access shows? I don't remember,
but I would see them come on, like
Dancing Guy.
Same thing. It's like an office space with crappy lighting and
like a beach background.
I think we can help you guys. Order now, man.
Yeah. Same old thing. We're just shot really bad but there's something about it that I think is genuine, and I love that and miss that about, and we'll never get that back. Like that'll never
YouTube channels.
Or TikToks or Reels or whatever. It's never going to be the same, and that really sucks because, you know, even though this is like just insane stuff to believe, I hold a special place in my heart for those shows and his show, even though it's all BS. But back to what we were talking about. So eternal values. In the beginning, they practiced abstinence, and this is wild because some of the members are literally some of the best looking people in the world. Men and women.
You're going to Studio 54, you figure, dude, you're going to be hitting it every night.
As he describes it, mounds of cocaine on tables, women and guys making love on the floor.
This is the life.
But we're not going to do drugs. We're not going to do alcohol. And we're not going to do each other, essentially. It's all about family. It's all about community, and it's all about helping people get to the end so that we can overcome the end.
Very positive.
And that is part of what I'm going to get to when we talk about this, because you brought up something, you know, it's always the same thing. It's this and this and this. And you're right.
Playbook. The end of the world's going to come. We have to do this to prepare. It's like
this all starts with the idea that Frederick got really sick and had like a fever of like 104 or something. And at that moment where he's just super close to death, an alien entity takes over his body and starts driving the bus.
It happens.
He didn't really know what had happened to him until he read a book by some other psychic woman who then he met. And then he reads and goes, that's what happened to me. And he reaches out to her, and they hit it off, and she ends up including him in her book, which then gave him the foundation to then get the people to believe, well, if this person says she's awesome, if she believes, which is essentially what I'm describing is Oprah.
Right, yeah, same kind of thing.
All the snake oil salesmen. And then she still, to this day, holds no responsibility for. Isn't that wild, dude? You gotta have some responsibility.
Again, with these cult playbooks, at the end of them, there's some people that wake up, and there's some people that are still just blinded,
there were multiple people in this one, and I'll get to that.
Blinded and oblivious.
But like Oprah.
Yeah.
How many whack jobs has she hoisted up onto her soapbox and said, "This guy is the man. You believe me, so you should believe him."
Wasn't she
multiple?
Thing was one of her homies that she.
But she still holds no big deal. I didn't have anything to do with it.
Does she still have her book club?
Garbage, human being, garbage. Just like with this guy or this woman too. And so a lot of early on, the models would read her book and they were like, I got to meet this Frederick guy. And then his personality
80s in LA, the 80s in general, the new age. Everybody was looking for new age meaning, alternative.
The crystals thing was wild.
Yeah. It's all that whole era, you know. Even my parent and my dad, you know, but it wasn't deep like that. But I know that there was, you know, some trippy leanings for a while, for sure. You know?
Wild stuff, dude.
Could have got sucked up into this cult right here.
Yeah. So, they basically profess this whole deal of, you know, being positive, no drugs, no alcohol, no sex.
That sounds good on the surface.
And got to give it up to Hoyt, man, because he went with it. He seems like he was towing the line.
He's still a good-looking guy, too, by the way.
Oh, man.
As an older man.
Great-looking guy.
Yeah.
But then it all kinds to fall apart after one of the women and one of the main founders fall in love. and they get then chastised because you're not supposed to have any. The group comes before anything else. God comes before anything else. You cannot let a relationship or love come before this, and they did that, so they got berated. She ends up going scorched earth, and they end up doing an article in Vanity Fair, which exposes the whole thing. Hoyt is like, my career's over, but no. Instead, everyone in Europe's like, this guy's awesome. He believes in aliens. And he goes, I got more popular than I had ever been before in my life. But that didn't mean it was the end of the road for Eternal Values. And we'll talk about that next. Dark Side of the Stream on 104.7 The Cave.
Dark Side of the Stream. Mike the Intern and Jay Stevens. Watching documentaries so you don't have to. 104.7 The Cave.
Jay Stevens, episode 289, Dark Side of the Stream on 104.7 The Cave. Bring me the beauties. So anyway, after the Vanity article comes out, then there's a lot of other details that are just wild stuff, like the gyms, and they hold power and then overvaluing them and using that as a scam. That's actually, they were building a case against him to go after him for fraud.
Right.
He ends up dying of AIDS, so they washed it out, but it is what it is. So yeah, it's so crazy that even after his death, the core, 8 to 10, 12 members held on at that little place in North Carolina.
You get some
to the
stragglers
end,
like that, I know.
And it's just like, man,
Same playbook.
But eventually Hoyt meets someone who kind of shows him like,
hey, there's a better way.
But then at the end, he still breaks up with her. Which, spoiler alert, he ends up getting back with her. They have a family, which I think that was awesome. And Hoyt also understands that he was, he had a big part in this as far as being a recruiter.
Yeah.
There was a lot of people he brought in, and I know he feels bad about it. You can tell.
Guilt from that. Yeah.
Also wanted to make mention of my man Fabio, who was a really good friend of Hoyt, still is. And after all this thing came down and Hoyt was like, because he tried to escape multiple times, and every time they would find him,
rope him back
and bring him back. They'd make him feel horrible to the point where he got so desolate about the whole thing that he eventually not because I've got to escape, but I can't stop being who I want to be, and that's no good for you, so I'm going to leave. Yeah. So at that moment, he still believed what they were professing. He just like, I cannot do it.
He wasn't worthy.
They made him shave the top paid male model in the world, and they made him shave his head so he wouldn't leave to go model, which is insane. After he had been basically funding this for years.
But
everything, business ventures, the homes.
Whenever your life's going south, Fabio will save you.
Yeah, he breaks out and goes to LA, and Fabio lets him stay with him for a couple months. And Fabio's coolest dude, man.
Story too.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, you get genuineness from this guy. Great looking dude. Could be just a complete jerk to everyone. He could be, but he's not. He's awesome, dude.
We could all be a little more Fabio.
He's the best actor / model according to Zoolander, and not the other way around. And I absolutely love that guy. Cool dude. And every time I see him in something, he's getting more points.
Good. He's funny, yeah.
But also, I love the fact that after all was said and done, Hoyt also went scorched earth and was able to get some of his money back. Again, they took a lot of money from him. He was able to reconnect with his family before his mother died.
Right.
Became her caretaker, and he said that having gone through that experience with Frederick being his caretaker at the end of his life with HIV helped. So let's talk about some of the crazies. Long-haired guy that would go get him boys and bring him back and then sneak him out of the other room so none of the other members knew he was actually having sex when they were being asked something. Still to this day, at the end of that documentary, you can see it in his eyes that if Frederick was still alive, he would still be doing the same exact thing.
And this is how these cults go, like I said, every time.
Same thing with that guy, the bald guy. The bald guy was getting emotional. You could tell. He would still be in it to this day.
Don't see the truth or don't see the...
What I was going to say was, when you said before we started, which was they all have the same thing in common. The other thing that you didn't mention is that they prey on people that are so lonely and are so seeking for a family, be accepted, that positive reinforcement that you should be getting from your parents. And if you're not, I'm sorry, your community, that when someone like that comes in and replaces that, it's like having to decommission from your own family. you've already done it from your real family, but they didn't really mean anything to you because you had a bad relationship with your mother, your father beat you, whatever the case may be. You've already cut them off, and that doesn't really mean anything. But now this family who's come and in your mind has filled a hole that was unfillable, that's going to be even more difficult to do. Yeah. You saw what they tried to do in the intervention with Hoyt, and they got those crisis guys. They did all the things that they could, and it did not matter.
It's just a reoccurring thing.
And it's sad to me.
Maybe, we see it now, and we're talking 40 years ago, but most of these cults happened back then, although there's some more recently. But so looking back at it, it's just like, how can people fall for this or not see it after the fact?
They're human beings, man. Yeah, unfortunately, that's
flawed.
The element.
They're flawed.
We'll come back and talk about our rating on this documentary next. Dark Side of the Stream on 104.7 The Cave.
Dark Side of the Stream, Mike the Intern and Jay Stevens. Watching documentaries so you don't have to. 104.7 The Cave.
Jay Stevens, Mike the Intern, Dark Side of the Stream, episode 289 this week. Bring me the Beauties, my pick. I give
Talking
it a solid.
About beautiful people and cults.
Yeah, I'd give it a solid 4. That was perfect. That was great.
4 was good. Wasn't too drawn out.
No,
and
got a lot of info.
But they all looked the same. Is the crazy part to me. They all had that chiseled face, the guys and the girls, and just like Ken dolls. I'm gonna start a cult. If I'm gonna start telling people that it's the end of days is here and we need to make a cult.
Before you get too up on your horse, buddy, I saw your most recent Machine Gun Symphony reel that you guys played last weekend, and there were all guys in that front row, so I'd be careful.
There was a solid back. Hey,
I didn't see one girl. I was all dudes.
You need some
I was
men.
like, what is going? Jay, what is happening?
There was a massive bachelor party, and they were such big fans. There was also bachelorette.
Like I said, after watching this cult, you better be careful, my man.
In the cults, you need men as well to do stuff and to work. Yeah, so that you can.
And if Jordan's in, you guys share Jordan. Is that?
I would be a really good cult leader, dude.
Yeah,
I would, man.
Are you down for sharing?
Well, it would be my cult. I would decide what happens.
Everyone shares, but me.
By the way, there's a video game coming out that's where you're a cult leader and you form a cult. And
that sounds like real healthy.
PlayStation.
I'm sure that's.
My pick for next week is going to be another HBO. Monsters of God, from the people that brought you Tiger King and Chimp Crazy.
Also A24, really, really cool documentary that they've been airing episodes week to week that we've both been watching. I thought it was going to be about the snake charmers and the snake speed people. But it's actually about the reptile trade.
Crazy people that you would never know.
How expensive it is. You never knew how much a little...
Let's go get some snakes, dog, and sell them.
A gecko, a little tiny gecko, how much is that going to cost?
Hey, let's get some snakes, Ollie, and sell them.
I guess that's what we should do. Either way, all right, Monsters of God, HBO is the assignment.
Until we start our cult or start our reptile business, you'll have to watch
I'm not getting bit, man. And that in that first episode where that guy gets that one, he's like, how bad, he's just like guarding. I don't know. It takes a whole different kind of human being to do something like that. As always, watch us do this on Thursdays at 9 a.m. or 6 p.m. on Facebook or YouTube. That's the time I play it during my show. Jay plays it at 6, and you can always download these as a free podcast on our 104.7 The Cave app, wherever you get your apps at. Download it for free. I'm Mike the Intern. That's Jay Stevens reminding you we watch movies so you don't have to. It's Dark Side of the Stream on 104.7 The Cave.